Version 1.1 of Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl is now out, and today I'm bringing in everyone's favorite guest, Kayla from Kayla's Capsule. Kayla, go ahead and say hi to everyone.
Hello, I'm Kayla from Kayla's Capsule. I make videos about Pokemon and Animal Crossing and a whole bunch of nerd stuff, so feel free to go check me out on YouTube. Yay!
Awesome. And for now, we're just going to go ahead and talk here. So we're going to start with talking about how 1.1 brings with it a bunch of fixes to glitches and a bunch of additions to the game that, you know, we've pretty much seen the whole game by now. Or if you've been paying attention, we've seen the whole game. We're not going to spoil too much because we don't want to ruin the game for people. But we will talk about features that are in and out. And since this is a remake, a lot of things that you might consider spoilers pretty much are not spoilers. Since there are a lot of features that we've seen before.
It's mostly features and things as opposed to like story that we're going to be talking about for the most part. So if you guys haven't played like Diamond and Pearl or Platinum, like don't worry, you can stay here. It's okay.
Exactly.
This is a safe zone.
It's a safe space. Yes, absolutely. Kayla, let's first talk about things that were fixed and changed with the newest patch, and then we can talk about other things that we've noticed that we hope they fix.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
So the first thing that I noticed that they changed was the HP bars apparently were slowed down a little bit from the pre-release footage.
Yeah, in the pre-release footage, they went down really, really fast, which, like, for one thing is kind of good because in the original, like, Diamond and Pearl, the HP bars went down so slow. Like, I don't know if you remember, like, what that was like, but oh my gosh, it was so awful.
Oh, I remember. I thought they did it that way because it made it feel more epic. Like when I was fighting Cynthia, and mind you, I had a hard time beating Cynthia, so every time I was like looking at the bar as it slowly went down, like, is it gonna go? Is it gonna go all the way down? I just remember being super intense. It was super intense. I thought that was the effect that they were going for, so I didn't mind it. I probably mind it now, especially I know speedrunners probably hate it. Oh god.
Oh, it was, I know, like, because fighting wild Pokemon and Eevee training was just...
Oh, okay, yeah, that sounds annoying.
It was awful.
See, I liked it from my kind of experience where it was like just slow and intense. You know, I take my time with games. So when I was like in these tense matches with people like Cynthia, just wondering if I was going to win, seeing the HP bar go slowly down just made it all the more exciting, intense.
Yeah, sense.
From
my perspective, it was a no.
Oh, you didn't like it at all, right?
Oh, I hated how slow it was. But at the same time, like, if it's super fast, that kind of ruins it too. Like you were saying, like, you do need that bit of drama.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, but drama, that's a good word.
Exactly. Like, you gotta find a balance, though, between, like, oh, this is tedious and, oh, this is dramatic. So I think hopefully it's a good pace now.
It looks like it. In the pre-release footage, it was, like, lightning fast. And now it just, like, goes down, like, a normal speed from, like, most other Pokemon games. So I think it's a good in-between for people of all different varied mindsets.
Yeah, and ways of playing.
Yeah. Another thing that was redone is actually a lot of people were complaining in the pre-release leaked footage that the music sounded really bad. However, with the newest update, the entire music has changed as far as I've heard, and that they've also added new tracks that we've never heard before.
Seems like they kind of like remastered it, which will be really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be nice. But I think they're mostly sticking to like the original sounds of the game, just like cleaned up.
See, I don't mind like the retro sounds as long as the music sounds good. And from what I've heard, I mean, I haven't heard all of the leaked songs or anything, but I've heard the music from like the trailers, and those sound amazing. So I am not unhappy with that. And in case you are unhappy with it, just like with Heart Gold and Soul Silver, you can actually, in the post-game, unlock the DS version of the music. Just like how in Heart Gold and Soul Silver you can unlock like the original Game Boy Color versions of the music. So that's really nice.
The nostalgia is real.
It is. Although I do find it kind of odd and redundant since they are sticking with like faithful sounds on these new renditions. yet also having the old soundtrack that has the same sounds just done in like a more simple way. Although some people may prefer that, I guess. It's a harmless feature for sure, so I'm happy it's in. But it is weird.
Yeah, it's probably in there mostly for the nostalgia factor. I know I'm gonna play with like the new music version and like probably just keep it that way. I love when they remaster the Pokemon soundtrack because like it sounds like the earlier versions of things didn't sound quite as good, but like you understood what they were getting at, you know?
Yes.
Like the anime a lot of times would take like the Viridian Forest theme and things like that and like remaster them, and it was always so good. So this kind of is like that.
I sort of remember that. I thought that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So other than that, I guess now we can talk about things that we hope are fixed. You mentioned a few things to me before we started recording, so I'll let you go ahead and talk about the things that you hope are fixed from the newest patch, and if any more patches were to come.
I don't remember what I said.
Oh no! Okay, I'll help guide you. I remember one of the things was, because your memory is that bad, Kayla.
I'm getting old, Johnny. I'm getting old. A lot of pressure.
We've been new. You're an old lady. We got your cane and your walker ready.
Yep, good.
Any day now. Any day now, we're pulling them out for full use from the.
That was
the
like
rest of your
yesterday,
life.
man.
So, because your memory is so bad, just like the rest of your decrepit body,
Yep.
I remember one of the things you mentioned was like a Pokeball glitch.
Oh yeah, there was like a glitch where they were like not holding anything. They were like the player character and like other characters that they were with weren't holding. It was like double battles and they weren't holding a Pokeball, but there was supposed to be a Pokeball there.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked really, really awkward, obviously. But I think that's been fixed, right?
I don't know. We have no proof yet, actually, if that's been
It's
fixed.
gotta be fixed.
You would think
There's
so,
no
right?
way.
I'm assuming it is. I'm gonna go forth assuming it is. There was also, to add to that, some other clips of like Cyrus or any other NPC throwing out a Pokemon, and they sometimes when they did it, it would skip the animation of the ball coming out, and it would just show like the opening flash without a ball in sight and the Pokemon popping out, and it looked really bad.
Yep.
So I'm assuming they fixed that.
I wonder if that glitch has something to do with Pokemon following you, because you know how like when you send a Pokemon out that's following you, you don't have to throw the Pokeball.
But it was the enemy NPCs doing that, so it makes no sense.
Unless they have their Pokemon out too. Oh my god, that would be cool.
Nah, they ain't gonna do that. We have not seen their Pokemon out with them in a single clip. Not in the leaked game or in the trailers.
Aw, let me dream, Johnny. Let me dream.
Supposedly, this was actually before the 1.1 patch, so I don't know if it's different now, but when we go into battle, the Pokemon that you have out walking with you retreats into the Pokeball and then comes back out when you throw the Pokeball in battle, instead of it just like hopping from behind you. Although, I could have sworn I saw in like a trailer the Pokemon hopping from behind you at one point.
Yeah, I think it just comes out. I think you like point forward and then it's just there.
So maybe that's like in the 1.1 patch and we just haven't seen it redone. But like in the pre-release game leak that was there before 1.1 came out, obviously an earlier version than they had been developing for the trailers and stuff, you know, the Pokemon would just retreat and then come back out again instead of hopping from behind you. Like they hadn't implemented that yet, which is fine. They had the skeleton, so they just had to add polish like that in. And this update is also, by the way, 3 gigabytes. To put in perspective, the game itself before this update was 4 gigabytes or somewhere above 4 gigabytes.
Yeah,
so
it was like half of the game in the update.
Exactly. So it's like almost the same size as the game was before. Some glitches that I want to see fixed. One of them was, you know, when you're in battle with like an important NPC, like your rival or a gym leader or something, and they talk to you mid-match, like if they're pushed against the wall or if they have you on the ropes. You know what I mean? So
yeah, those. There
were some clips that I saw where the gym leader was doing that, and every time they started to talk, the animation, that their idle animation would like clip real fast to reset before they talked, and it looked really jarring.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like the Happy Mask salesman, just like the way that it just like teleports back into place before doing an animation again, and it looked really, really bad. So I'm assuming that was also patched in this update.
Yeah, it's like, we must run this script now.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly what was happening.
It's
hey, look, see?
It's so easy to fix that too, because like you just have to change how zoomed in it is or change the angle, and then, you know what I mean? Like, just have it cut to it in a different way.
Yeah, that's the simplest way to fix it, right? But there's also just other ways you can fix it, like just don't make the animation reset when they start talking.
Right, like have them fluidly move into the animation, but like I know Pokemon, like,
they cut corners.
Yeah, exactly. So the zooming in, or not zooming, but like literally just showing a different angle.
Yeah, but they never do that either. It's the weirdest thing. Like in Sword and Shield, they could have actually done that in many parts, like in that final city where the pop-in was extra bad. They could have just done different angles and it wouldn't have looked so bad, but whatever.
Yeah, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. You're right. All right, I'm glad we can put that game behind us now and focus on this one, which is way less of a mess than Sword and Shield.
Legends
and Let's
Arceus.
Exactly. Yes. We
Look
got some
to the future.
actual good games coming up. So yeah, those are things that I want to see fixed. Of course, I also would love to see the scaling of the Pokemon sizes fixed as well, both in battle and in the overworld. A lot of people are actually not happy with of all things, of the overworld Pokemon being shrunk down. The same, like, I swear these people were not complaining about in battle the Pokemon being shrunk down, but they're now complaining about the overworld Pokemon being shrunk down. And I'm like, where was you guys when I was sitting here telling you how bad it looks in battle when they're shrunk down in battle where they're supposed to be realistically sized? But now you guys want to get mad when in the chibi overworld the Pokemon are smaller? Like,
yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I'm annoyed too, because Heart Gold, Soul, Silver even made Pokemon sprites bigger if it was a larger Pokemon. And they could totally do that here. They could have, so essentially your character takes up one grid of space at any given time. And they're making every Pokemon, regardless of size, also take up one grid of space.
Yep, and so you can easily just be like, now it takes up 4.
Right.
Or something like that.
You could take up to 4 grids and it would look fine, in my opinion.
Yep.
That's what they did with Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Some of the sprites would take up like 4 grids worth, depending on how big they were. Some would take up 2, some would take up 4, or 1, or 3, you know, whatever it was. And they could just do that here, but they're not doing that. And it's really weird, and I don't know what the reasoning is behind it. It's the same reason, I'm assuming it's the same reason. I don't understand why they scale the Pokemon down in battle either.
I don't know. I mean, obviously it has to do with like the grid kind of thing, but like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why not have them just take up more space on the grid?
I'm gonna let it slide at least a little bit, just because it's a chibi overworld.
The overworld, I'm more willing to let slide.
Yes,
because it is chibi, and so like it could be just a stylistic thing.
Yeah.
We can debate whether that style is correct for like appropriate for this game, but that's like another conversation, you know?
Yeah, agreed. And then when, of course, it becomes an issue when you go out into battle. But even that, okay, like this is one game that I'm willing to try and overlook that they're not scaled properly even in battle when the proportions are supposed to be more realistic, because, you know, most of the game you're going to be seeing chibi. So it's like, yeah, you go into battle and the proportions are supposed to be more realistic, but this is still all in all a chibi game. So I guess I can kind of try and overlook that because of that. It is still hard for me because my OCD still kills me with this.
Yeah. So like able to just be like, I'm gonna turn off that part of my brain now.
It's never gonna not bother me. However, I am willing to try and look at least a little bit past it, just because the game all in all is marketed as a chibi game.
Yeah.
And the graphics look great otherwise. That's the craziest thing. It's like the Pokemon models are the thing that it seems like Ilka isn't allowed to touch. Because like normally like in Sword and Shield, the Pokemon models looked better than everything else, but in this one, the Pokemon models look worse than everything else.
Yeah, I mean, we both have the theory that there's something that went on in the background of these games between
Masada and Ilka, for sure.
Exactly. And so like, yeah, I mean, that sucks.
Yeah, it's weird that like they are able to make this great game. Like everything else about the game is really great in my opinion. But then like they couldn't include platinum features. I have a feeling Ilka wanted to include the platinum features, but Masada didn't let them because Masada directed Diamond and Pearl and probably refuses to admit that platinum was a better version than his vision. And then when it comes to things like the Pokemon models themselves, Masada and Game Freak and Creatures Inc. and whoever else that's in charge of them is probably like, no, you can't do anything with them. And I think the biggest hint towards that is the fact that we have new models and animations in Legends Arceus that Game Freak gets to use, yet Ilka is still using these outdated ones.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like, there's so many things that they could overlap, like things that are good that they could just overlap, and they don't.
The turning animations are there. They could have just at least given these models the turning animations, but they won't do that, you know?
Yeah.
It's the same Pokemon that are going to be in Legends Arceus, you know?
Right. I think there needs to just be more sharing across games.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be a good solution. And we might start seeing that after this year. I think this is like a transitionary period for them to start outsourcing stuff so that they can actually make more passion projects like Legends Arceus.
Yeah, but even like, because we already had like the whole engine for Sword and Shield, like they could have built like these games off of that engine instead of creating something totally new.
Whoa. No, thank you.
I would rather have that than the Chibi, though.
I wouldn't. And there's several reasons for that. The game engine that they made Sword and Shield and, gosh, all the previous Pokemon games in 3D with is god-awful. Like, the boundaries act as walls. The pop-in is horrific. I don't know if the pop-in has anything to do with the engine itself, but things like lighting and shading and texturing, like, obviously were not very compatible with that engine because things looked awful.
But imagine taking something and then working with it and making it better. Like, I feel like,
that to an extent is good, right? However, Unity is what this game is made in. And I had this down as a point to talk about later, but we may as well talk about it now. This game is made in Unity, and Unity is a very user-friendly, easily accessible engine to develop on. And because of that, this game was not hard to make as far as game development goes. So even though they had to make things from scratch, they didn't really have much work to do. Also, most of the stuff, like I've mentioned before to you in past videos, most of the groundwork is laid out because this is a remake. They really just have to make the visuals, right? So making that in Unity is like, honestly, especially for Ilka, who is probably unfamiliar with Pokemon's in-house engine, with Pokemon's awful in-house engine, I should word that more. It's probably just better for Ilka in general to be developing on Unity anyway. And Unity seems to be a much better thing to develop on. If you look, like the menus and stuff in BDSP are super responsive. Like even in the pre-release before 1.1 released for BDSP, in the leaks of the pre-release for it, the menus were super responsive. Menus haven't been responsive in a Pokemon game in years for a mainline Pokemon game. Like that's how bad that's how bad Game Freak's in-house engine is. And so I'm just super glad that they're not using it. I don't think Legends Arceus is using it either, because there's some like lighting effects and physics effects in that game that just could not exist in the engine that they were using. And there's no way that they built that up so fast in that god-awful engine.
Yeah, you definitely know more about the game development part than me. I'll fill in on the competitive scene. I'm like, I don't know this stuff.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I probably just went off on a huge rant.
No, it's good. I'm learning things. I like learning things.
Yeah, so like I know a lot about this stuff, and even more than me, my partner is a programmer, so they tell me about this stuff too, and clarify a lot of things for me too whenever I need an extra, whenever I need extra info. So,
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So that's my explanation on how and why making the Pokemon franchise in Unity is much better than making it in Pokemon's in-house engine. And it's also why I think Ilka could have done so much more with the game if they had been given the rights to. But I don't think they were.
Yeah.
But they're doing a great job with what they have, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're definitely trying, They're trying to work with what they got.
Even though they still haven't acknowledged that they're making this game.
Which is so weird.
They still have not acknowledged it. Maybe they will after it releases and it sells a shit ton. Because it's going to sell a lot.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, though, there has been a lot of hate in the Pokemon community for this game. Or these games, So maybe they're just, trying distance for their sanity.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't help that the first trailer was really, really bad. So.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was funny because you watch people's reactions of it and they just kind of are like, yay! Remakes of Diamond and Pearl. And then they're like, what?
Yes, I watched so many reaction videos to it. And it was exactly as you just said. They'd be like, oh my gosh, yes! I'm so excited. And then it gets past that part where they showed the DS version and it shows the first scene of Chibi Dawn with really bad graphics and giant hands and
everybody's
no lighting effects and no textures. And literally every single reaction video I saw was like, oh.
Yeah, everybody was like, wait, what?
I don't know if you've seen my reaction video to it. It was really, really funny.
I'm not sure. I feel like
I'll have to show it to you. It's really funny.
I don't know. I have my reaction of it too. I was trying to be positive so much in it, but I was like, these colors are a little.
I remember one line that I mentioned after having been speechless for most of the time. I remember just looking at it and saying, Game Freak, this is not what we meant when we said new graphics and animations. But anyways, now it looks really good. Not as good as Legends Arceus, obviously, but it looks really good for what it is. And the texture work is really impressive and stuff, and the overworld and whatnot. So, anyways, let's move on because we've been on this topic for quite a while now, and people are probably ripping me to shreds in the comments. So.
Aww, guys, give love to Johnny. Don't rip him to shreds. Don't hurt my friend.
Don't hurt my friend. Okay.
Protect power friendship.
All right, Kayla, I'll let you go into this next thing about some events that were added.
Yeah, so there are a whole bunch of different events that are added. Mainly the Shaymin and Darkrai events are going to be in the game, which is very exciting because I know both of us have not had the opportunity to play those ever. Because, yeah, you couldn't, it was hard to unlock them when you were a kid, playing these games.
You had to be able to travel. I couldn't travel. You had to have friends. I didn't have friends.
Exactly.
I don't have a family.
Oh, Johnny, you totally have a family, though.
Yeah, a family of friends.
Aww.
No one was going to drive me to Toys R Us to get a Shaymin. What's a Shaymin?
Yeah, my parents were like, do your homework, stop playing Pokemon. And I was like, what?
Mine just weren't around.
Oh.
Anyways, so... Yeah, so we're getting those events, and that'll be both of our first time experiencing those. I think they're included in the base game, right? We don't have to do anything special. We just have to play through the story.
Yeah, I think they are. I know in one of the trailer, one of the trailers, there was the girl who gives you the Giratina flower or whatever for Shaymin.
Yeah.
So we thought that this was going to be a thing just from earlier trailers, but now it's more confirmed that we're actually going to have these events in there. So, and it seems like they're built in, so should be easy to experience even if you can't travel to a Toys R Us. Awesome. Does Toys R Us even exist anymore?
I was just wondering that same thing. Probably not. You would have to go to your local GameStop now.
Yeah.
Anyways, on top of that, if you have save data from Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, then after your first badge, you can get Mew from an NPC. And then also, if you have save data from Pokemon Sword or Shield, you can also get a Jirachi from the twin of that NPC standing right next to them, right after your first badge. And I'm super excited because I don't think I've ever actually had these Pokemon in a mainline game.
So I had Jirachi because there was like a disc for the GameCube that would like.
I always wanted that. I wanted that because you could get it in Pokemon Coliseum, right?
Yeah, I had it, and you could transfer it in, right? So you could have it in like Sapphire and stuff like that. And so I played a run where instead of using a starter, I used Jirachi. It was so fun.
That sounds fun. I like how we're actually getting them early on in the game here. So they're probably going to be a low level, right? And like we'll be able to raise them, as if they're, a Pokemon that we got as babies.
I really hope they're like level 5 because personally I would love to do another run with Jirachi on my team. Or maybe switch it up and do Mew. Either way, like that's so exciting.
I want a Jirachi even more than Mew. Jirachi is like one of the coolest legendaries to me, or mythicals, whatever they are.
And it's so cute. They're both so cute.
I know, it's so cute and so cool. I'm excited.
Yeah.
And then I've also obviously never had Shaymin or Darkrai. Actually, no, I did have Shaymin. I got really lucky when the one and only time I ever tried the GTS back in the day on my DS. I got lucky and got a Shaymin traded to me. And I remember treating that Shaymin like royalty, and I put it into my Pokemon Ranch, back when Pokemon Ranch was a thing, so that I could play with it. Because you could play with the Pokemon in Pokemon Ranch, and you could put like Miis out on the field. And I made Miis of well, back then I was a really super nerd, so I was like a big fan of Utada Hikaru. So I made like a Utada Hikaru Mii and had her play with Shaymin all the time.
That's so cute though.
And then I'd also make, me and my family, of course, and like me, my family, and Utada Hikaru were playing with Shaymin.
Oh my gosh.
It was actually really funny. I had a lot of laughs playing that game. Actually, that was a fun little... It wasn't a game per se. It was like a Pokemon storage system, but it was really cute and fun.
I think this is one of those rare circumstances where you've like out-nerded me.
Yes.
I'm like, usually like I say something that's like nerdy to the max, but nah, you got this podcast. This one's you.
Yeah, usually I'm like, dang, Kayla, you know you're a nerd, right?
Yeah, right? I'm like, Johnny, this one's you though. This one's you.
Okay, so excitement for Shaymin, Darkrai, Mew, and Jirachi aside, you had some big news for me that I did not expect. But apparently BDSP is not the only games that you can get stuff with by having those save data on your system.
Right. You can actually, in Pokemon Legends, you can get Shaymin if you have like the save data. What was it? Save data for Sword and Shields, right?
Yes, yeah.
So yeah, if you have the save data for Sword and Shield, you get Shaymin and an outfit, which I think looks cute.
I think it looks ugly. But Shaymin's cute.
I think it's so cute. It's got like little flowers on it. I'm just like, aw, that's cute. Like in the design. It's like, that's adorable.
It's so cute.
I like it. I like flowers. It's flower power. But anyways.
I'm not much for the floral. Sorry.
We can also get Pikachu and Eevee masks for our player character to wear if you have a save file of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu or Let's Go Eevee.
Just say Peevee.
Peevee. That sounds so wrong. I'm never saying that again.
It sounds just as nasty as those games were. Peevee.
No, they were cute.
Eevee. Okay. So yeah, I actually really like all of that. And Shaymin, there's a screenshot of Shaymin in Legends Arceus, and it looks so good. I want it.
Beautiful.
I'm so excited. It's gonna be a little partner of mine faux show. I'm so excited.
You sound like you're getting like cute rage.
I am. I just like... Am I one of the... I probably shouldn't say this on video, but I have one of those dysfunctions where when something is super cute to me, I get like these like very violently raging urges.
You get cute rage. You get cute rage.
Yes.
That's why like stuffed animals are great because you like hug them really, really tight. And if it was like an actual animal, it would no longer be alive.
I'm like, yes, I do that too. I'm like a Gretzko. Have you ever seen that?
Gretzko?
A Gretzko. It's an anime on Netflix.
Now I'm looking it up. Oh,
it's this cute little. I think she's a dog. She's a Shih Tzu, I think. And she she's literally you. She's literally you when you go to karaoke. She looks super cute and innocent, and then she goes to karaoke and she sings Screamo and she goes raw.
Is it a red panda? I feel like it's a red panda, right?
No. She's like a Shih Tzu dog or something.
For those of you who are like trying to imagine me singing this at karaoke, look up Flyleaf, I'm So Sick, and you will understand.
Yeah, so you go to karaoke and you sing that. I actually have a recording of you singing that. I should probably
I
just
still have the
upload it for
recording
people.
of you singing too.
Oh my gosh, we both sang Screamo that night. It was great.
That was so much fun.
I also have one of you and your boyfriend singing to each other.
Oh yeah, oh that's so cringy.
And I was like zooming in. You know what? I might put this on this video.
Oh no!
That might be where I put it. Because I still have it all on my phone.
I'll have to send you the one of you. You can put it in too, so that we can be equally embarrassed.
I'm done. All right. Back to Pokemon. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
I can skip this whole segment about the games being made in Unity because we already talked about that. However, I also want to point out that no matter which version of the game you get, you technically have both versions of the game. So if you get Brilliant Diamond, there's an easy hack to change it to be Pokemon Shining Pearl. Each cartridge is shipped with both games inside of them, but there's a line of code that separates them depending on which cartridge you buy. So if you're a modder or a hacker, like, you can just switch versions whenever you want, and I find that really interesting.
That's so crazy.
Also, since the game is made in Unity, this is a modder's paradise, because like I mentioned earlier, Unity is a very easy engine to develop in. So
yeah.
There
Hopefully,
you go.
Well, I mean, I don't think this game is being used for competitive, really. So that's good, because I would not want to be the person who has to monitor that.
What was that laugh?
that is my, that sounds overwhelming. Like, oh no.
That's really funny. Okay, so then now I'm going to talk about the swarm encounters. Have you looked into this at all, Kayla?
I don't really know much about this. Tell me more.
Okay, so I found this really interesting, and apparently no one else did. But swarms are back because, you know, that was obviously in the original Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, and it was also something that was in Gen 2. And I think those are the only two games that it was in, as far as I remember. They might have added in one of the 3D ones at least, but the 3D games are all pretty forgettable at this point, so.
So, by swarm encounters, do you mean like double battle encounters or like actual swarm encounters? Because I remember in...
Swarms as in like, there's an overwhelming number of that Pokemon in the area.
Like 5 of them or so? Okay.
But you don't fight them at once. Like, you would just like go into the grass, and most of what you encounter is that Pokemon. And it's typically a Pokemon that's not in that area, or it's one that's usually super rare in that area.
Oh, cool. Because I know in the Alolan games, the 7th generation, there were like swarm encounters would be like 5 Pokemon.
Yeah, at once, right? And you fight them all at once. Yeah, it's not like that.
But this is not like that, yeah.
Right. No, it's still one-on-one.
Yeah.
But the coolest part about this is that when there's a swarm, when you go to that patch of grass, you see the models for that Pokemon in the overworld.
Ooh.
So it's kind of like Let's Go at that point, you know, but it's only for swarms, which is odd, but still I'm glad they put some Pokemon in the overworld, you know, other than in the Grand Underground, obviously.
Yeah, that'll definitely make it feel more alive, for sure.
Yeah, so that'll be cool. And it also looks crazy. I saw a clip of it from one of the leaked game cartridges, and it looks really crazy. I saw one with a bunch of Spinda in there.
Stumbling around.
Yeah, they were. So I think that's part of why it looks so crazy to me, because, you know, obviously Spinda actually has a good idle animation. One of the rare Pokemon that has a good idle animation from Game Freak's set of models.
Yeah,
But-
its animation is like iconic.
Now that we're talking about Pokemon in the overworld, let's go ahead and talk about the HMs and how they really work, because this was something that I was initially really excited for until it was explained how it actually works, and now I'm not excited for it at all. It's actually just like gonna be more underwhelming than ever for me. It'll be intuitive, but underwhelming as far as like working as a team with your team goes.
Yeah, because I know you wanted it to be like the Pokemon that you actually have in your party. If they're like able to do something, then they would be the Pokemon that actually do the animation, right?
Yeah, so I have a friend who has the game already, and I asked them to confirm this to me because none of the leakers were talking about it. And they said, not only is it always wild Pokemon, but there's only 3 Pokemon that come to your aid, no matter where you are. It's always only one of 3. And we already know 2 of them. One of them is Bibarel, and the other one is, I think, Staravia. Is that the middle evolution?
Yeah.
So, I don't know who the third one is, but the fact that there's only 3, and that it's never a Pokemon in your party, it just takes a whole layer of puzzle solving and working with your team out of the equation. That's what I liked about HMs. And yet, great, I know that they were implemented really badly in the past because of, you know, the Game Boy and Game Boy Color obviously not being able to do that much because, you know, it was held back by the hardware essentially. But now we have the hardware to support that done right, and yet they're only doing it with wild Pokemon? Why?
I mean, I'm not gonna say I told you so, but
And to make it even worse, I was like, okay, at least every route probably has like a unique Pokemon, right? But no,
Yeah.
It's always just one of the same 3.
I was hoping that they'd at least have that, but
So all those scenes we see of this player like on Bibarel, that's all we're gonna be seeing when we play the game. It's just us on Bibarel, who, by the way, in my opinion, is a really boring Pokemon.
yeah, right Pokemon though, at least to be doing HMs for the nostalgia, you know? Because like realistically we all had at least one Bibarel on our teams, like doing the HMs, you know?
I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
Oh, I had 2.
I didn't really like Bidoof or Bibarel when I played, so I never.
I didn't like
fought
them either, but they could learn all the HMs.
See, I didn't realize that because I never wanted them on my team. So.
I just needed a Pokemon that could do HMs because I was like, oh man, there's so many HMs in this game. And I was like, oh, this one can do like all of them. So, oh, and if I have 2 of them, then I'm all set. Perfect.
Well, I'm not too happy about it. It's not the worst thing in the world. But it's something that, like, I feel like the way to do it was so obvious and they still botched it somehow.
Yeah, I think the way to do it was obvious, but more complicated. And so they went the simple route.
Again, it probably was something to do with Masuda.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm just gonna blame everything on him. Everything that doesn't go
poor
right in
Masuda.
this game. I don't. Is he poor though? He's definitely not poor. Mans
Literally
is rich as hell.
no.
Mans is
Literally,
rich.
definitely not.
Mans is rich. Okay. Now let's talk about the Poke Radar. Do you know anything about the Poke Radar? I think you probably know more about it than I do.
I know there have been like different iterations of the Poke Radar in like different generations, and I can't remember how it worked in Gen 4.
Okay, I have no idea about how it works in any of them. I probably used it and was like, what is this? And then stopped using it for the rest of my playthroughs of whatever game it was. But I do know one thing about it in this updated version of Diamond and Pearl, and that is that the grass, wherever the radar signifies a Pokemon, the grass doesn't stop shaking until you touch it now, so you don't have to memorize where it is. So that's pretty nifty,
That's good.
I suppose. And then, the real kicker though, is Pokemon encountered through the Poke Radar can have hidden abilities. So that's really nice.
Yay! Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Hidden abilities are so important for competitive.
And they're hard to get usually.
Oh, they're so hard to find. Like,
I remember trying to get Cursed Body for Cursula. Or whatever it is for Cursula and Corsola and Sword and Shield. It was really hard.
yeah, it's so tough to get the hidden abilities. It's just like, I'm so glad that the more mechanics they can do for that, the better. And especially ones like that where it's not just as easy as like, now you have this. It's like, it's still a challenge, but like, it's less tedious.
Yeah. I think now Sword and Shield actually has a way for you to just give them an item that gives them a hidden ability, though, and I think I used that on Corsola because I could never find one that actually...
Yeah, they do in the expansions.
Okay,
they have a way to do that. Yeah.
So yeah,
but,
I used that.
Yeah, I just want it to be... I like the way that they're doing it for that then, because I don't want it to just be like, oh, like, you just give it this thing, and... Like, I understand that's nice, too, because, like, you want your starter to have a hidden ability, and so, like... But, I feel like that should be very rare, you know?
Yeah.
So just, like, it's like rare candies, you know? Like, anything to auto-change should be rare. Otherwise, it gets weird.
Speaking of competitive stuff, wasn't there, like, some, like, move or something that came back that you were excited
Yes! Hidden Power is back! Woo! I'm like so excited about this. And you're probably like, Kayla, why are you excited about Hidden Power?
Literally, you should see my face right now. I don't give one single fuck.
Okay, let me explain why Hidden Power is so important. So, Hidden Power was not in Sword and Shield. And Hidden Power has, like, for literally since, Gen 2, when it was first introduced?
I don't know, you tell me.
It's been, like, a huge part of the meta, because, so, what Hidden Power basically does is it allows Pokemon to have a move of a type that's very different from what they necessarily can learn, right? Because Hidden Power, the typing of the move is based on I think it's based on the nature of the Pokemon. So that means that, like, depending on your Pokemon's nature, it could have a different type hidden power. That's huge, because you can have a Pokemon have better, like, type coverage through hidden power, which makes some Pokemon a lot more viable. Obviously, like, this isn't a competitive game, so, like, it's not gonna matter for the competitive scene overall, but, like, you know, I'm gonna want to battle people, like, in real life and be like, all right, let's go. Hidden Power being there is going to totally change up the way that certain Pokemon are built compared to Sword and Shield, and I'm just, like, so excited.
So I have a big question for you, actually, before we move on to this last very loaded segment. Do you think that there's gonna be, like, a division of fans who actually have, like, their own competitive scene in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl?
Oh yeah, definitely. There was one for Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee too.
But didn't Let's Go have, like, an official one? Or no?
I don't remember. But I know there were people who, even when Sword and Shield came out, went to Let's Go and stayed in it.
So do you think that's gonna happen here too?
I think there's definitely going to be some people who are playing, like, this game as a competitive game for sure. As long as they give us the ability to battle each other, people will battle each other.
Interesting. I feel like this game is going to have better balance than Sword and Shield. That's why I ask.
I don't know. I liked the balance in Sword and Shield a lot in terms of, like competitive. I thought it was really, really fun. And I liked how, even though, like, I know a lot of people are going to be upset by this, but I liked how they had certain Pokemon release at different times. I'm sad that they didn't have all Pokemon released by the end of it, but I liked the gradual release of Pokemon over time because it changed the meta of competitive. It'll definitely be interesting how this goes in terms of people actually battling each other using this game.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I just wanted to get your opinion on that because I have absolutely zero clue. But it was something that I, for some reason, was thinking about every once in a while. I'm like, are people really going to go back to Sword and Shield? I don't think so.
I mean, Sword and Shield will still have people who are playing because the competitive is staying there for now.
Yeah, and especially the official one is staying there.
Exactly. So yeah, people will still be there. Like, there's a tournament coming up. Like, people will still play it for that.
I just foresee BDSP becoming like the new Smash Melee or something. Like people are like, yeah, well, that might not be the one that's officially supported, but this is the better one, you know?
Yeah, exactly. We might get that kind of a situation with this, where people really just like playing, especially with Hidden Power. And, you know, there's a couple things that I'm just like, okay, this is gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
You know, the availability of Pokemon for sure. Hidden Power, I'm just like, yes. All right, let's see how this goes.
Yeah, and speaking of seeing how things go, time to start our last very supremely loaded segment, which is everything when it comes to the post-game content. The post-game content, let's first start with the fact that we can rematch every single gym leader and every single Elite Four member, and they get really strong. And they change to, when you first rebattle them, they change to their Platinum teams. And they always have teams of 6, as far as I you know. And they also all have items and like competitive movesets and like competitive strategies built in to their teams.
Yeah, this is very, very good news, because I know like we've talked about it quite a bit, but the post game for this game is largely probably what's going to make or break it, considering they want everything to be very faithful in like the main part of the game. So like the fact that they're introducing this challenge, if this goes well, it could make this game, you know?
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of hardcore people who like had a lot of things to complain about the game, like the experience share and stuff, they can't really complain about that now. I wouldn't think so anyway. Especially with, we're getting Cynthia to be the strongest NPC trainer we've ever had in an official Pokemon mainline game. She's supposedly even stronger than Red now.
Yeah, that's gonna be so fun. I'm hoping that the EXP share doesn't still make it easy, but it sounds like it's gonna be hard.
I mean, her team is so good that like even probably having all level 100s might still be hard. Especially if like you're not the type to get all perfect EVs and IVs or whatever. I don't know what it means.
Like hiding my face, like yes, I will do that. So.
Oh, okay, but either way, she also every gym leader and every Elite Four member has perfect EVs and IVs.
Right. What I'm hoping too, sometimes there's also like things called damage rolls, where the damage can slightly be higher or lower. Like you can get a high damage roll kind of thing in the background, and you don't see it, but like a move that you use can do slightly more damage or slightly less damage every time you use it.
I've always noticed that, but I didn't know if that was officially a thing. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a thing going on in the background. And so it would be really cool if they also set it so that they like always get high damage rolls. Not high like crits all the time, you know, that would be ridiculous.
Right.
But like if they get high damage rolls all the time, that would be epic.
Interesting. Very interesting. I like that idea. They might do it too, because Ilka seems to actually be catering towards that sort of thing.
Yeah, that would definitely up the challenge too. I would love that.
Yeah. On top of the gym leaders in Elite Four, though, we're getting some special guests in the form of Jasmine from Johto and Joanna, who is our mother.
Yeah, that Joanna is gonna be. I had to like look her up. I was like, Joanna, who?
So yeah, Joanna is the player character's mother, and obviously we know who Jasmine is. She was the, what was it, Steel type gym leader?
Yep, she was the very first Steel type gym leader.
Awesome, yeah. She's one of my favorites too. I have fond memories of her from both the anime and the video game. So
yeah, I like her a lot.
So do you know if it's like in battle or if it's in like Pokemon contests, like the coordinators contest?
I don't know what they're gonna do for this game, but Joanna, the player's mom, is like known for, you know, doing contests specifically.
Okay.
And it seems like that's probably more of her kind of a thing. Like maybe it'll be kind of like, you know how in Gen 3 you fight your dad as a gym leader? Mm-hmm. Maybe it'll be like you compete in a contest against your mom, you know?
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
That would be really cool.
But what do you think about Jasmine? Is she also going to be a coordinator, or is she going to be like someone we have to battle?
See, that's what I'm not sure about. So, like,
She looks like she's dressed for like a coordinators contest.
she does. I think it would be really cool because I don't feel like Steelix fits well for that. That'd be a little weird, especially what we know.
For it, though.
Exactly. He's like shrunken down in the contest and trying to be cute. You know
that we already know they shrink down the models, so.
I just imagine
I can see
Steelix
it.
with like makeup and fake eyelashes trying to participate in a contest. Oh gosh, that's a weird
With
mental
a bow.
image.
With
Yeah,
a bow
with a
and like
bow.
some sunglasses.
Exactly.
Or like what I used to give Oshawott in Gen 5, I would give him like a pimp cane. And
Oh my gosh. But it would make a lot of sense if instead, like, if Steelix is her ace for, like, battling, but if Ampharos from the Lighthouse is her ace for contests.
Ooh, Ampharos would be great in those.
Right.
Yes.
And she, like, feeds Ampharos medicine and takes care of it and
yeah.
all those kind of things. I'm like, Jasmine and Ampharos, please just give this to me right now, Pokemon.
Let's go. Yes. Oh man, I would love that.
But yeah, they're definitely trying to, like, feature Jasmine more.
As they should. She's one of my favorites.
They're featuring her in Pokemon Masters right now too.
Yay.
She's like the head of there's like 2 teams you can join in Pokemon Masters right now.
Mhm.
And she's like the head of one of the teams, which of course is the one that I joined because Jasmine's on it.
Hey. Okay. So, now let's talk about everyone's favorite part, the battle tower. And the fact that there's no battle frontier. And also the fact that the 20-minute timer is back.
I feel like they might throw some twist to the battle tower though, hopefully, to make it, I don't know, at least have some of the frontier like trainers in there, the frontier brains.
No, they just have that one guy, whatever his name is.
Really? They're not gonna have Caitlyn in there?
I don't know who that is, but they have that other guy. I forgot his name.
Yeah, they have what's his name? The dude.
Jack?
You guys know who.
Derek?
It's definitely not Jack.
Bob?
No.
Steve? I don't remember his name.
Yeah, that guy.
I wrote it down. I can't find where I wrote his name down.
I keep thinking
I put
Volkner,
it.
and I'm
Some
like, that's
some
right.
guy named Palmer. That's what I wrote.
Palmer, right. So Palmer's the battle tower head. But there were a whole bunch of other facilities in the frontier, and like Caitlyn ran one of them. I want her to be in it.
She gone. The frontier ain't in. Sorry.
Yeah, but like maybe when you get to the top of the battle tower, you can fight different people. And it's
Kayla,
not always the
the
same
frontier ain't in.
But
I'm
Caitlyn,
sorry.
though, Caitlyn is the most iconic character from that, in my
Kayla,
opinion.
the battle frontier is not in.
Which,
I'm sorry.
this is like how you were with HMs, but I'm like this with the frontier.
The roles have been reversed.
Oh no!
Kayla, get over yourself.
But Caitlyn though, so Caitlyn was in another game too. She had a Reuniclus, and she's in Pokemon Masters, like featured heavily too.
Kayla,
so I'm like,
this is not Pokemon Masters. This is
why are
Pokemon
they-
Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
Yeah, but why would they promote her so much in all of these different things and then be like, ha, just kidding, she's
Kayla,
not in the thing.
this is not Pokemon Perfect Platinum. This is Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
Oh my gosh, what if they come out with a perfect platinum though?
Kayla,
They're not gonna come
we
out
are
with
never getting a Pokemon Perfect Platinum. We are never seeing Pokemon Platinum version ever again unless we emulate it.
I'm just gonna
They want to
hug my
forget it ever
Larvitar.
existed because it was not directed by Junichi Masuda. I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna hug my Larvitar plushie and rock back and forth and cry. It's fine.
They want us
It's
to
fine.
forget about anything that was not directed by Junichi Masuda or Shigeru Omori. I'm sorry.
Aw.
So,
All right. Well,
moving on. Because you obviously can't get over the fact that this is not Pokemon Platinum.
No, I can't. Okay. No. But yeah, more exciting part of it in terms of like new things. Yay. Ramanas Park looks so cool.
Is that how you say it? Romanus? I thought it was Romanus.
Romanus? Romanus? I don't know.
Let the debates begin.
Yep. Romanus?
I say Romanus, but you can say Romanus. Say whatever you want, Kayla.
Romanus? I don't know. I don't know how it's pronounced. I could
Who
be
knows?
totally wrong.
Either way, this is where we find all the legendaries. Also, just for FYI for the crowd, Romanus it's a type of flower, which obviously Sinnoh's known for like flowers or whatever. So there you go. There's your lore. Like, there's your lore, Kayla. That's the lore that you wanted.
And like so many Pokemon characters are named after like flowers and trees. Like we have Lily and Plumeria.
Oak.
Yep, exactly. So it's like a lot of especially the female characters tend to be named after flowers, and the male characters tend to be named after trees.
A little sexist, but hey, we're here for it, I guess.
Yeah, they have some crossover though. There's some
okay,
crossover.
Good. Oh, that's right. Isn't it Willow a male? Oh wait, no, that's a tree. Dang it! I only said that because Willow's a female's name. Now I feel mad dumb.
No, there's there's the professor that's a girl.
Well,
she's named after a tree.
Willow was a great character from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yes, my favorite.
Wait, that was your favorite character?
Oh yeah, I loved Willow.
Oh, my favorite was
witch.
Cordelia.
That's so cool. Yeah, I like Cordelia too.
I do love Willow though. Willow's great. I love Cordelia and Fred from Angel are my favorites.
Willow was very much me as a child. You know,
I can see that.
Nerdy. Yep.
I can
that
definitely
was me.
see that. And now you'd be a very powerful witch.
Yep.
Shoutouts to
like
anyone.
Willow.
Shoutouts to anyone in the comments or anyone in the audience who actually understands what we're talking about right now. Moving on though, because we're here to talk about Pokemon and not the best TV series to ever exist. So, let's talk about how the legendaries work in Romanus Park. Something about like some slates or something that look like cartridges.
Yeah, we have to get these legendary slates. And those allow us to go to different areas where we can catch different legendary Pokemon, which are actually, the legendary Pokemon available are different depending on which game you get. So that's an important thing to know when you're figuring out what version you want.
But only some of them, right? Not all of them?
Yeah, only some of them. It's like, Pearl has Lugia and the legendary birds, and Diamond has
the legendary dogs and Ho-Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm happy, I guess, because I'm part of the like Brilliant Diamond superiority squad over Pearl, and we got Suicune in that version, which is like my favorite legendary. So like if I were to ever get these games, you know, I would have Suicune. So
yeah, awesome. I'm getting Diamond too. I gotta love Sweet.
Hey. Although if I ever get the game, I'm gonna have to find someone who has Pearl so I can get Lugia, because Lugia is also one of my favorite legendaries.
Oh gosh, yeah, Lugia is so cool.
Definitely my favorite legendary bird.
And the fact that it like goes underwater, so cool.
Yeah, I agree, and like makes whirlpools and stuff and lives in the Whirl Islands.
I mean, the ocean is already terrifying, so imagining Lugia just down there, like, either, like, saving you or, like, ending your life, I'm like, okay.
Right? Oh, that 3D room that you find Lugia in Heart Gold and Soul Silver is so cool looking. I even went back to that game, like last year, and I remember just, like, looking at the room, even today, being like, wow, this is impressive.
Yeah, I hope that these rooms that we find these legendaries in are like super cool.
They are, so I can already confirm.
Yeah, they look really cool. I just hope they have like a lot to them, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure they will. For one, I can actually talk about here the Distortion Room. So for those who don't know, Giratina, there's no Distortion World in this game, but Giratina is still in the game in Turnback Cave, just like in Diamond and Pearl. But separate from Giratina, in Romanus Park, you can actually enter a place called the Distortion Room, which is just, unfortunately, it's just a hallway, right? However, you know, it does like some like upside down physics for you, and like you can fight this thing called Shadow Giratina. And Shadow Giratina is level 100. This is the first wild Pokemon, I think, that's ever been level 100, and that means Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl is the first Pokemon games to have the strongest trainer in Cynthia, and the strongest wild Pokemon in Shadow Giratina. And Shadow Giratina is origin form Giratina, and you cannot catch it, but you have to beat it in a battle. And when you do that, you get the orb that lets you change Giratina's form.
Yeah, that is so cool. I love that there's gonna be this like super powerful Pokemon that's level 100 that we're gonna have to fight. Even if we can't catch it, like, awesome. More of that, please.
Yeah, and it's a nice little nod to the Distortion world, even if it's not obviously what it should have been, which is the entirety of the Distortion world, which I still will never get to experience.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched people play it, but it's not the same.
I haven't even watched people play it. I've just seen like stuff in trailers of like people like going off the side or something and looking kind of cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. Man.
Was it big?
It was, so there weren't any Pokemon in there to battle or anything like that, I don't think, but you walked through it, and it was the journey through it was very trippy.
That sounds cool. Was it puzzle-like? Was there puzzles you had to do to get through it?
You definitely had to kind of navigate your way around it. It was very, like, weird because in Pokemon, especially back then, we were used to very, like, you know, flat worlds kind of thing. Like, you know, things weren't 3D. Yeah. And so the fact that you would move and then the whole thing would shift. So what was, like, the ground is now a wall. And that was just so crazy. Like, you know, watching that and just being like, oh, whoa, what is this?
Interesting. Was there any good like story beats with Giratina and all that in Platinum? Because I actually don't really know much about it.
I didn't get to play it. I don't know, but
I thought you did play it. Okay.
No, I've just watched people. Like, I've watched playthroughs of it because I wanted to know. You know, I was like, I'm missing this piece of lore. Like, I need to know.
Oh,
and so
okay.
I watched people play it, and it was so cool.
So how was the lore, though? That's what I'm curious about, is, like, how the story played out.
I don't remember. I know, like, they worked their way through. Cyrus was creepy. Cyrus gets, like, trapped there. You know?
And it's like instead of fighting Dialga or Palkia at Spear Pillar, you have to go into the Distortion World and fight Origin Form Giratina. Is that it?
I don't remember. I cannot confirm this.
Well, we'll never know. Now we'll never know.
Yeah.
That's fine. But yeah, so like the most interesting thing here is that the areas are pretty cool looking. You know, you get all the legendaries up to Gen 4. And then also, the legendary slates resemble cartridges based on the games that those Pokemon were from, which is really cool in my opinion.
Yeah, that definitely makes me think of a lot of things in terms of lore. First of all, the fact that they're called legendary slates is very similar to legendary plates, which is what Arceus uses to change type.
Yep.
So, like, that's one thing. And then, second of all, like, the fact that they're using basically game cartridges to go to these other places and get, you know, it reminds me a lot of like Ultra Space and, you know, link cables. And I have a feeling there's going to be like a whole thing with that in terms of like theory and lore. So I'm just very excited to see how they explain this in the games and how it's going to connect to the lore that we already have. So.
Interesting. I'm unfamiliar on a lot of that, so you should make a video on that, about all that on your channel.
Yeah, right? I have to work on that. Yeah, because there's so much in terms of how the Pokemon multiverse works. It's actually so cool.
I know a little bit about the multiverse, but I don't know much about like the Ultra Space and all that, because I actually stopped playing Sun and Moon right after I beat the Elite Four and caught, because they like forced me into a fight with that like Tapu Koko or something right after I beat the Elite Four, and I remember being really annoyed because it was a really hard battle to get through for me, and then also like I had to catch this thing first try, or else I had to reset before the last Elite Four match. So I was like really annoyed by that, and I stopped playing the game after.
Aww.
But yeah. Anyways, the last thing we want to talk about is about the outfits. So I'll let you talk about this part.
Yeah, so this is the only thing that's kind of spoilerish. but it's not a huge spoiler because it doesn't impact the story at all. There are 12 sets of outfits confirmed. Obviously 12 for the female trainer and 12 for the male trainer, and then there's like 4 for each outfit because you can have like different appearances for your trainer. But yeah, there's 12 sets of outfits. I was kind of hoping that there would be more, and maybe like there will be more potentially over time. Like maybe they'll run an update when like Pokemon Legends comes out, and they'll add like one themed for that. But yeah, right now there's 12 outfits. So.
And we probably think there's more to come. This 12 is counting the platinum outfits, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, cool. Yeah, there's probably more than even just the Legends ones that might come later or something. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. And these are only just ones that are confirmed, right? Or is this like literally that's all there is?
It seems like there's only gonna be 12.
Okay.
Like they did like a data mine kind of thing, and it seems like.
Okay.
But I don't know if it is pre-patch or post-patch. So it's possible that there's more, but
okay.
I do think it's kind of unlikely.
Well,
I think
12 isn't that bad of a number, even if it is the final number, you know?
No, it's not too bad. And like some of the outfits look really cute, so
yeah, and at least they have the same amount for both male and female.
Do they not ever for other things? I feel like they always do.
No, I don't think so. I think usually the male has less options.
Really? Oh yeah, well, cause they probably like restrict skirts. That's so dumb. Guys can wear skirts.
Yeah, well, not in Pokemon or heck, a lot of video games. They don't really represent video game developers always have like gender roles in their stuff. I don't know why. Like they very strongly enforce gender roles. Like even games where you can date whoever you want. Typically they have very limited roles for like even same-sex. Relationships.
That's so
like
crazy.
Fire Emblem. I think there's like 2 paths you can have for like a homosexual relationship for 2 guys, but then there's like 10 for 2 women, and then of course if you go a straight path, then there's like 20 something. There's all the options available.
Yeah, and it's so crazy. There's like different Pokemon like what are they, fan game kind of things, and like a lot of them have the option for like somebody who is non-binary. Mm-hmm. Like they have a non-binary option that uses they them pronouns and like that kind of a thing. Yep. So I'm like, that'd be so easy to implement.
And your favorite game, Animal Crossing, does that.
Oh, Animal Crossing, you can wear whatever you want.
You can wear whatever you want.
I could dress up as Santa Claus with a beard on, and it's totally fine.
I can dress up as 2B and 9S, depending on my mood. Doesn't even matter.
Exactly.
And then also like Temtem is another monster collecting game, and they let you do that too.
Yep. Yeah, they let you.
You can also choose your pronoun.
Yep.
Crazy.
Which is great.
Yeah, I can't wait for that to come to Switch too. When is that happening? They keep delaying it.
I don't know. I played the beginning of Temtem. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I want to play it. I'm waiting for the full release on Switch, and that's when I'm going to play it. But
yeah, I played the beginning of it, and then I was like, I should wait for the full release.
Yeah, because I'm sure it was really good.
It was so much fun.
One day, and it'll probably outshine mainline Pokemon series that's not like the Legends series. Anyways.
I feel like the Pokemon in Pokemon have that going for them, though. There's something like so cute and nostalgic about Pokemon that a lot of franchises that do monster hunting games, they just have a hard time competing with,
Yeah, you know what? Like, what I would love to see, Nexomon has really good monster designs, or like say monster, but like mon designs. Mm-hmm. I would argue Nexomon has better designs than Pokemon, but the game itself isn't as good as Pokemon. Whereas Temtem, the game itself is better than Pokemon, but the designs aren't as good as Pokemon. So if like they just got whoever designed the mons for Nexomon to join with the developers of Temtem, then you would have literally the best monster collecting game ever. They would just have to mesh themselves together, and they would beat Pokemon hands down, in my opinion, if they did that.
Yeah. Or Pokemon can just hire us, and we can...
Or just Pokemon can hire someone competent in general. Please. Or when they do, let them do what they need to do to make the game good and stop having like the director from Game Freak come over and tell them what they can or can't do.
Yeah, I'm excited for Pokemon Legends Arceus though. I feel like they're taking a risk with that, and hopefully it'll kind of break them out of this bubble.
Yeah, Masuda and Omori better not touch that game. I do not want them to sit there and ruin anything about it. It looks promising so far.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited. I'm even excited for BDSP, even with all its flaws.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too. I can't wait to see what people actually think about it.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see like if there's things that we just don't know about yet.
Yeah,
still
same.
crossing my fingers.
I'm still crossing my fingers on that too. I'm hoping those things we don't know about it that are really good things.
Yep.
But I highly doubt there will be. Unfortunately, because version 1.1 is the version for review copies.
Yeah.
Meaning, what's in there now is what's supposed to be reviewed as the game. So.
Yeah. Still, fingers crossed.
And we already know about some future things coming out. There's going to be a future patch, and it's supposed to have something. It's supposed to have more communication features for like certain modes, and they're adding something called Coliseum to Pokemon centers.
Ooh.
So like just the name gets me excited because it reminds me of Pokemon Coliseum, right? But I'm scared it's gonna soil the name because I don't know what it is.
What if you can get Shadow Pokemon?
Doubt it. The mainline games will never acknowledge Shadow Pokemon because it wasn't directed by them.
Pokemon Go did.
That's not a mainline game.
Yeah, but so many people play it.
Yeah, but I'm saying the main series like that is directed or completely developed by Game Freak. You know, like even BDSP is directed by Masuda from Game Freak, you know. They will never acknowledge Shadow Pokemon. They won't acknowledge anything that they know was a better idea than their own. Just like how Masuda won't acknowledge anything from Platinum in his remakes of Diamond and Pearl.
Oh, I'm still gonna dream. I'm still gonna hold out hope. Someday.
Well, let's continue to do so. Let's end on a positive note.
Johnny, when we're like 80 years old, they're gonna be like, you know what we should put back in? Shadow Pokemon. I don't know. And then we're gonna be like, yay!
Maybe. We'll see. Because then, like, everyone who was like against having things that were better than their own ideas will be dead. So
wow, morbid. And on that note,
therein concludes the video. Kayla, why don't you tell everybody about where they can find you here on the tubes of the U?
Yeehaw! You can find me. So you can find me on YouTube. My channel's called Kayla's Capsule. That's Kayla with a C, so that you guys can find it. Yeah, obviously I post a whole bunch of Pokemon things, Animal Crossing things. So if you guys like those things, make sure that you follow. I also have a Twitter where I post updates on like when I'm gonna post. So it kind of like, you know, lets you see some behind the scenes things that are going on. And yeah, I also have an Instagram, but that's mostly outfit pictures. So yeah.
Awesome. I love your Instagram though. the photos you put on there are so cool.
Aw, thanks.
But yeah, after you guys leave a thumbs up on this video and subscribe to me if you haven't already, go ahead and check Kayla out. I'll have her linked in the description of this video. And then, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And until next time, peace out, everybody.